been asked to talk on, to give a talk on STI for climate change resilient and sustainable bioeconomy. It's quite a mouthful kind of topic, covering a wide range of aspects. I'll try my best just to shed light on a number of issues related to this topic. Yes. So just an introduction, science, technology, and innovations are crucial in addressing climate change and fostering sustainable bioeconomy. And this presentation, therefore, accounts for STI's sort of a present status, challenges, opportunities related to climate change resilience, and a sustainable bioeconomy, and specifically focusing on a global, regional, and national sort of level perspectives. So this will be the focus of my presentation. Most of us might be aware of issues of climate change, even talking about climate change resilience. I thought this is not an area that I should really put more emphasis on, with the assumption that we understand what that is. And of course, I just learned that yesterday's presentations were focusing more on issues of climate change, and unfortunately, I was not able to attend. But I thought I should just take you through what we call bioeconomy. So this is the concept of bioeconomy has gained significant attention in recent years. This presents a promising opportunity for sustainable economic growth. And maybe that's the reason why it is featuring in this conference. The bioeconomy uses the renewable biological resources such as plants, animals, microorganisms to produce goods and services. The bioeconomy presents several benefits, including the production of renewable and sustainable products, but also the creation of new jobs, which again, from the climate change perspective, that could also be considered as part of climate change adaptation, so to speak. But also the economic opportunities, the economic gains out of this bioeconomy, but more importantly, the potential to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and mitigate climate change issues. As you can see, the relationships between bioeconomy and the issues of climate change, that comes out very clearly. Now, why do we talk about science, technology, and innovations now on these presentations? Obviously, innovations is essential to realize the potential of the bioeconomy fully. That innovations that drives actually the advancement of the bioeconomy in that matter. So innovation can drive the development of new technologies and the processes that enhance the efficiency and sustainability of bio-based product systems. It can also help address some of the challenges associated with the bioeconomy, such as the need to reduce waste and improve resource efficiency. You will see in a presentation later, we are talking about circular economy, and that's where it comes from. So this schematic diagram provides very clear illustrations on looking at the ecosystem services and the climate change action from a circular economy perspective. And this is very interesting. We really see that achievement of circular economy is actually can be looked at it from the ecosystem services facilitating a circular economy, but also you look at climate change, climate action in a circular economy perspective. So from the ecosystem perspective, you really see quite a good number of ecosystem goods and services that are provided, but also from the climate change action, you actually see a number of climate change actions that are also being outcome of the circular economy. So bioeconomy, looking at low carbon algae, microeconomy, and a number of other things. So really, this provides a very comprehensive picture on the relationship between, natural resources, climate actions, but also and the role of circular bioeconomy. Now, this is quite an interesting sort of schematic diagram. That why are we really emphasizing very much on bioeconomy at this time, at this period? Because we really see, if you look at the economic development life cycle or pathways, you clearly see that if you're to talk about the current sort of direction, it's more on the bioeconomy. Way back it was information economy. Now the most recent drive is on the bioeconomy, basically driving the economic development. And the red line, the blue lines shows the extent to which the bioeconomy really sort of foster or sort of contribute to the economic development at large. So this is a very important illustrations emphasizing for a need for putting more efforts on bioeconomy, because now that's the direction in which most of the entire globe is going towards to that. And of course, this is also because of other multiple gains that we see, as if we go back to the previous sort of schematic diagram, where you see a lot of gains out of the sort of what we call it circular bioeconomy. Now from the ecosystem, goods and services, also from the climate action perspectives. I think something that we may wish to also reflect on is looking at the present status. Where are we? Now, as an international community, from the global perspective, from the regional perspective as Africa, but also from the Tanzanian context. Something is happening here. Okay. So, if we take the global level kind of perspective, we realize that adoption of the global biotechnology market is booming with the application in agriculture, health, and environmental management. And of course, when talking about application in agriculture, health, you're also making reference to climate resilience. Because the moment you boost agricultural productions, you address health challenges, you're also enhancing resilience, climate resilience to both natural and social systems for that matter. But what is important to note is that innovations such as genetically modified organisms and are designed to improve crop resilience to climate change. Of course, Tanzania, we are still observing this. We have not yet taken it on board, but we can really see now the role of innovations. But also, just looking at now GMO, so far globally, it has been adopted, particularly in countries like in USA, Brazil, Argentina, Canada, and India. As of 2021, approximately 190 million hectares were planted with the biotech crops globally. So you really see the role of innovations, and of course the purpose being boosting crop productions and addressing the climate-related impacts on crop production as well. We may wish also to look into circular economy initiatives. Many countries are transitioning towards circular economies that emphasizes waste reduction, resource efficiency, and material recycling. And I think this is the best move as far as climate change issues are concerned. Because by so doing, you also reduce the contribution of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Now again, economic and environmental considerations do drive this process. Let's now look at research and development innovations. So investments in renewable energy technologies, carbon capture and storage, and the sustainable land management are also rising. And with the perspective of ensuring that we're actually going towards what we may wish to call green economy, again, as a way to address climate change impacts, and therefore taking climate actions along those lines. In 2020, for example, the global investments in renewable energy was around $300 billion. So really you can see that we're actually moving towards more of a going for a renewable energy and less on fossil fuel kind of sources of energy. Now, if we look at it from the African perspective, is that we acknowledge that Africa is rich in biodiversity, presenting vital opportunities for bioprospecting and the sustainable exploitation of natural resources. So we are privileged to have these resources which could drive actually the bioeconomy in this region. And of course, we have to take note of the fact that the presence of extensive forest resources do also provide a room for sequestering carbon dioxide, but also providing ecosystems goods and services. So the issue of carbon dioxide absorption does also facilitate as part of climate actions, but also provision of goods and services. This could also be seen as a way towards enhancing communities' livelihoods, and therefore, partly addressing the issue of also, climate resilience for that matter. In Africa, we also see a renewable energy potential. The region has significant untapped solar and wind energy potentials, which have not actually been fully exploited. Some initiatives are underway in countries like South Africa, Egypt, and others, which are already sort of leading in renewable energy projects. So I'm sure we're also moving towards that direction. Let me now just say something on innovative agricultural practices in Africa. So agroecological practices and what we also call precision agriculture are emerging as crucial components of enhancing food security and the resilience to climate change. So this is the move that the African continent is moving towards that. And this includes reduced tillage and the use of biodiversity-based solutions to enhance food production by increasing soil fertility, pollination, and natural pest control. So these are the kind of sort of interventions that a number of African countries are moving towards that. Now, if we can look at it from the Tanzanian perspective, obviously, let me make note of the initial attempt of Tanzania moving towards what we call it bioenergy projects. So Tanzania implemented some bioenergy projects to provide renewable energy solutions and improve local livelihoods. Of course, that attempt was done with very good intentions, but I think in the long run it had also quite a good number of challenging issues related to issue of land tenure and others. So I'm not sure whether it's still moving towards that direction, but yeah. So we may wish to also consider innovative fisheries management. So the country is also leveraging technology for better fisheries management, addressing overfishing and environmental degradation challenges. It was interesting. I'm doing some research along the coast, and we were told by fishers that fish folks that the recent boats that they received they actually have detectors that detects where the fishes are. Now, how accurate that is something that we may wish to work on as well. But it will be very interesting if we can have a technology to that level, then that will make life easier for the fishers. Again, that could also may lead into overfishing, because then they'll be targeting in all areas that there is a good fish stock. But this is something we may wish to look into, pros and cons of having such technology. We acknowledge also that we have a number of national policies and strategies that address issues of climate change, presumably even the issues of science and technology. So, for example, Tanzania government has developed a policy like it's a strategy, national climate response strategy to promote sustainable agriculture practices and climate resilience, but also promotes other components as well. But of course, having said all these good things, the status to date, I would like also to shed light on challenges that we may wish to consider. Now, from the global perspective, one of the challenges is actually funding gaps. There is a significant funding gap for climate resilient initiatives, especially in developing countries. Obviously, that was one of the debatable issues during the recent conference, COP, Conference of Parties. But also the issue of intellectual property rights, and of course, we'll get more insights from COSTECH. I'm sure you also deal with those issues. So issues around patenting and the ownership of biotechnologies can limit access to essential innovations. But also as a continent, well, from the global perspective, we do also have a policy fragmentations. That we have inconsistent policies across countries, which can hinder collaborative efforts on climate adaptation and sustainable practices. So we don't have consistent sort of policy frameworks, and therefore this could also be one of the challenges. Now, from the African region perspectives, we have a number of challenges, but just to mention a few, sorry. What happened now? There's something that pops up and
Fred.
Okay.
Fred, uko wapi? Imerudi profesa?
Yes,
tunaiona sisi huko.
I'm struggling. Okay. Yes, I was saying that from the African perspective, we have limited infrastructure. Many African nations lack the infrastructure for advanced biotechnologies and the renewable energy solutions. But we have to also admit that there is a significant skill gap with the many scientists and researchers requiring additional sort of knowledge to meet the modern STI demands. But this will be clarified by COSTECH, because I just picked some of these things from the literature. And the political instability in other countries. So as a continent, we may not have the same voice as far as addressing these issues, because in some other countries, they have more pressing matters to attend, and therefore it might be difficult for them to really work on this. Now, what are the challenges as far as Tanzania is concerned? Yeah, we do acknowledge that Tanzania is particularly vulnerable to climate change impacts, such as droughts, floods, which adversely affect agriculture and the key sector of the economy. So this is one of the priority areas that require, particular attention. limited research facilities, and research institutions often lack the funding and equipment for advanced research in climate change and the bioeconomy. And these are the areas that we really need external funding. From the fact that we are addressing a problem that has been caused by us, but rather caused by others, talking about climate change. We are the most affected ones, but that has been caused by the rich countries. I'm sure those are the issues that you discussed yesterday. So there is every reason for us to demand those wealth nations who have caused this havoc to really support us so that we can address these problems that we are facing today. And obviously access to technology, that again is related to what I've just said. There is a digital divide in accessing technology that could enhance agricultural productivity and the resilience strategies. Now, what opportunities do we have in place which we may wish to consider and work on? Now, from the global level perspective, let's consider the international cooperation is an opportunity, in that collaborative international research programs, a partnership can enhance innovation and resource sharing. Precisely so, much of the funding that we depend on for research, major funding, is actually from our partners outside Tanzania. So I think this is a good move that we can, it's an opportunity for us to see how best we can tap the knowledge from that side. But also our colleagues, they will have a chance to tap. It does not mean that we don't have the knowledge. We have to acknowledge that we have the local knowledge. So they will also get that opportunity to know the local knowledge that we have, which are equally useful. So the green financing, so we are saying that a growing interest in green bonds and sustainable investments is likely to attract significant capital into the bioeconomy sector. Emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, big data, and the Internet of Things, IoT, can enhance resource management and decision-making in the agricultural sector. Now, as a continent, what opportunities do we have? Yes, I think there is every reason to ensure that youth are engaged in this move. A youth population provides opportunity for workforce development, technological-driven kind of innovations in the bioeconomy. They are actually, if you are to talk of people who are on top of the technology, we should talk about youth. In any case, they are the ones who are likely to lose more if we don't address these problems. So therefore, we need to ensure that they are fully engaged, and then obviously having the technology on their fingertips, that would definitely be an opportunity. The regional trade, strengthening regional trade agreements can enhance access to bio-based sort of products and promote technology exchange. So this is the opportunity that we have. We have African Union, we have East African Community, we have SADC. So that could actually provide more of a facilitating bodies to ensure that the technologies that we have in place can be shared among ourselves. Now from the Tanzanian perspective, we are talking about that promoting sustainable farming practices such as intercropping, organic farming, can enhance food production and the resilience against climate change. Again, this is actually it's a move that Minister of Agriculture is taking. So I think that's the right path, and it ought to be promoted. And investment in renewable energy, the Tanzanian government is introducing regulatory frameworks to promote investment in renewable energy sources, especially solar energy, solar and wind for that matter. Again, this is an opportunity that we have. Capacity building programs, enhancing educational programs focused on climate science, sustainable practices, innovative technologies, can build a resilient workforce. Now, let me just say something now on the side where I come from. The University of Dar es Salaam in year 2012 established a standalone Center for Climate Change Studies. Basically, it was more of an entity that sought to oversee issues of climate change at the University of Dar es Salaam and beyond. And parallel to that, we also even established full-fledged master's and PhD programs, which are running. Actually, they operated, they started being sort of operational from 2013. And we do get quite a good number of students. And what is very encouraging is that we get a good number of them from the government institutions. So that means when they finish their programs, they go back to their host institutions, to their home institutions, and they practice the knowledge that they have acquired. And I think this is the right direction, and I'm sure other high learning institutions have also took similar sort of initiatives. Just to conclude, investment in science, technology, and innovations are essential for building a climate change resilient and sustainable bioeconomy across levels. While there are challenges to overcome, the available opportunities present a path towards sustainable development and the resilience in the face of climate change. So international cooperation, capacity building, and innovative technologies will be key facilitators in this transformative journey. I submit. Thank you.